Welcome! This is Nick Talks Cartoons this time around, and today I'm going to talk to you about Varian, or specifically what I think happened to Varian before we see him again in Rapunzel's Return. Now, we meet Varian again in Rapunzel's Return, which is the first episode of Season 3, and of course he's been in prison for a while. And then, of course, he broke out of prison with the help of the Sapporians, and then took over the kingdom. But he's obviously not in charge here. The Sapporians are, with Andrew specifically in charge of all of them. Now, we notice that they've used the memory wand on the king and queen, as everyone points out, and this is a big plot point that defines part of Season 3. Rapunzel's now in charge of her kingdom temporarily, and the king and queen take a back seat. While Varian tries to help them with their memories, what if someone else had lost their memories? My theory for you today is, what if the Sapporians used the memory wand on Varian? Keep watching to find out what exactly I mean by this, and how I'm trying to back that up. Now let's take a step back and think about the Sapporian memory wand. It's also called the Wand of Oblivion, I think, and we first see it in Season 2, Rapunzel Day 1. In this episode, Cassandra accidentally uses the memory wand to erase Rapunzel's memory to some time before she left the tower. And she's in the mental state of, believing Mother Govel's lies about the world. She's inexperienced, she doesn't understand what's going on, and she's very nervous. And we learn later that there is a potion that can be brewed with about 50 ingredients that can completely restore the effects of the memory wipe. Now, the memory wipe in this episode is Cassandra says that she wishes Rapunzel would forget all of this, and Rapunzel's memory goes years backwards and she forgets anything that happened after that point. But of course, Cassandra's inexperienced, she has no idea what she's doing, and she didn't even mean to use the wand. So what happens when someone who does know what they're doing uses the wand? In Season 3 we get our answer, as the King and Queen's memory has been wiped by Clementine, who's a Sapporian who apparently knows how to use the wand. I imagine she's some kind of specialist in magic or whatever. But basically, the King and Queen's memory is affected differently. They can't remember that Rapunzel's their daughter. They don't know the name of their kingdom, but they do know that they're King and Queen. This suggests to me that the Sapporian memory wand can be used by a professional to erase certain memories, but not others, rather than just periods of time. So we know now that the wand is capable of erasing specific memories when it's held by a professional, and we also know that the Sapporian woman Clementine is the one who used the wand in the show. Now, my theory is that Varian's specific memories of certain events from Season 1 have been erased. Now hold on for a moment, I'm getting to where it makes sense. Varian in Rapunzel's Return seems to act differently to how we might expect. He's angry about the kingdom turning their back on his father specifically. He's also angry about, of course, the Amber incident from Quinn for a Day in Season 1. However, when Rapunzel tells him that the people of Corona did nothing wrong, which by the way I might get to in another video because I am angry about that, Varian doesn't think that they've done anything wrong, or at least it's not enough for him to be angry at the kingdom. Instead, he blames himself and says about the times that he took the queen prisoner, which is odd wording, the time he threatened the princess, and helping these guys take over the kingdom. But we know in Season 1 that Varian is fully aware of how bad the citizens of Corona have treated him. Not only do we know that the royal guards hunted him down in his own house, that the other people of old Corona weren't around, he was all on his own, but they apparently, the general people of Corona that is, weren't very nice to him because of a rumour going around that he attacked Rapunzel during the storm. Of course, this happens off screen, so we don't really know what happened, but we get clues that Varian's unhappy with the people of Corona because of how they treated him as well as his father in Season 1 anyway. Like, when he's with Rapunzel in the Sundrop Flower room, he tells Rapunzel that the kingdom turned their back on him, and that's why he had to steal the flowers. And then, of course, most of the kingdom, all the people that we know, come and attack him during Secret of the Sundrop, the Season 1 finale, and they're all pretty angry at him. So Varian is obviously aware of the ways that the people of the kingdom have attacked him and hurt him, and neglected him during Season 1, and he's angry at them for their behaviour. But where's this in Season 3? It seems that he's forgotten all the times that the people of the Corona were not nice to him. We don't exactly know what that means, but perhaps hostile, perhaps vaguely threatening. He doesn't seem to have any ill intent towards the guards after this point either. It's not what you'd expect after seeing Varian and what happened to him in Season 1. And it would make sense if he'd had his memory erased for these events, because he seems to forgive Rapunzel and come back to helping the kingdom very easily. And then in the Lost Treasure of Herz der Sonne, he continues to be kind of friendly towards everyone. There's no fear or anything. So I'm thinking it's pretty plausible that the Seporians wiped his memory of perhaps all of his interactions with the citizens. But why would they do that? Here's my explanation. The Seporians may have decided to wipe his memory in order to stop Varian having any memory of good things that the citizens of Corona have done for him. They may have wiped all his interactions of people in Corona, apart from his dad and like the princess and her friends, because they know that he's had negative experiences with the royal family, but they don't exactly know what his life has been like with everyone else, and we don't either. We don't know if he's had a good time with, I don't know, other members of the kingdom, if anyone helped him out, and the Seporians probably wouldn't know this either. What if the Seporians thought that by erasing all his interactions with the citizens, they would be able to better manipulate Varian to help them take over and to put the citizens of Corona through experiences like mining for minerals and, anything else that they decided to do? It would also mean that Varian would feel that all of his closest experiences with other people would be with the Seporians themselves, which they might use to make him do whatever they want, and since he'd think of them as his closest friends. When Rapunzel got her memory wiped, her memory was given back to her through the use of some potion in a spellbook. Of course, they didn't have access to this when the King and Queen's memories were wiped, so they had to try different methods. And it took them a while. They tried different science, they tried just explaining things, but apparently just being in experiences that were similar were able to make them remember parts of things. And when they talked over their memories with Rapunzel, they were able to pick up on things and remember the events of the previous seasons. But what about for Varian? Because as far as we can tell, no one seems to notice that his memory is incorrect. He doesn't know, Rapunzel probably doesn't really care, and maybe they thought it was safer for him not to remember if they did notice. So what happens for his memory? Does he get any of it back? By the time we get to the Treasure of Herz der Sonne, we can see that Varian is still friendly with the other people in Corona. He smiles nervously at Xavier. He's probably still feeling guilty about his actions with the Seporians, but he doesn't seem to feel scared of anyone or nervous around them because of how they might hurt him. But then we get to Be Very Afraid, which is later on in the series. By this point, some of the citizens of Corona have probably had negative interactions with Varian, which may have given him some kind of vague sense of recognition of this, and he may exhibit this in his nightmare at the beginning of Be Very Afraid, in which the citizens tell him he deserves negative things to happen to him because of how he acted with the Seporians. However, I don't think he ever truly gets back all his memory. By the time we get to the song Nothing Left to Lose in Cassandra's Revenge, he never mentions feeling out of control because of how other people in Corona treated him. He doesn't feel like he was trapped, which is odd, because that's exactly how he seemed in The Quest for Varian and in The Alchemist Returns. So I don't think during the series he ever fully gets his memory back of what the citizens of Corona did to him. And while everyone else doesn't seem to notice, it just continues. However, we do know he gets at least a little afraid of them, but then seems to resolve this over the course of Be Very Afraid, which is at least a little consolation. So does this theory have any impact on the show? Well, it would be another way that the Seporians are shown in a negative light, because they're willing to manipulate Varian by removing his memories to make him work for them. And that means that Varian working for the Seporians and doing all those things may not have been entirely his fault. Of course, we wouldn't know what would happen if he did have those memories, so who knows, maybe he would have been even worse if he did remember what the Citizens did to him. Of course, this theory kind of shows Rapunzel and her friends not so great because they wouldn't notice that anything's wrong about his memory. I mean, you could probably excuse most of Rapunzel's friends, but Rapunzel herself was told about how the citizens of Corona treated Varian when they heard the rumour about him attacking Rapunzel during the storm. But you know, this is kind of in line with how she acts in Season 3, so I don't think it changes very much. Now, of course, this all could be explained another way. Maybe Varian just got, I don't know, kind of brainwashed during prison. Maybe they gave him lessons, like harsh lessons about how he should respect the monarchy, how it's all his fault and stuff. Maybe that got a little ingrained. We can see some chance of this happening with the way that he talks about Rapunzel as wondrous and magical, but who knows if they did both of those things while he was in this time alone. Because of course we didn't see him during his time apart from Rapunzel and her friends. Which is a shame, really. I'd like to see more of what happened to Varian during the times he's off screen. But who knows? It's just an interesting theory I came up with one day, and I'd like to know if you have any thoughts about it. Have you got any other ways that could explain this? Do you have any other times that you think fit in with this theory? Or anything else that might be explained, or other effects that this has on the canon of the show? If you have anything to say about my theory, or any other theories you'd like me to talk about, leave a comment down below. Until next time, this has been Nick Talks Cartoon. Maybe I'll come up with a discussion video or another theory soon in the future. Goodbye.